Technology has changed our lives as humans for centuries. Having spent over 40 years in the technology industry myself, I can attest to the importance of today's topic and circle on what is the latest buzz about technology. We've been talking about technology for a while, but this is the latest buzz, really AI and kind of generative AI, with a particular focus on Generation Z and the choices that matter for our future. I want you to join me in welcoming Karthik Saxyal. Karthik is a seasoned technical leader with more than 25 years of experience across telecommunications, education, defense, retail, and financial services. Over the years, he's led and held roles of increasing responsibility and impact in those spaces. He has served both as a global chief information officer, something I served as well, as a regional chief executive officer, focusing on ensuring that technology truly functions as a business enabler and creates real value for the organizations that he serves. And the phrase I use is, we don't want to let the technology tail wag the organizational dog, right? Karthik was recognized as the New England Boston CIO of the Year runner-up in 2022, a testament to his leadership and innovation in the field. He's also a three-time, not just a one-time, but a three-time TEDx speaker, having delivered a TEDx talk in Portsmouth on how humans can thrive in the technology age by embracing disruption with a continually learning mindset, a la Carol Dweck's growth mindset, if you've read her work before. A passionate lifelong learner and educator, Karthik holds a PhD in computer science with a focus on information quality and artificial intelligence, along with a master's degrees in computer information systems, information technology, and business administration, plus a postgraduate master's qualification in information quality. Outside of work, he's energized by people, devoted to his family, and is an unabashed superfan of Superman and DC Comics. Proud owner of more than 30 Superman t-shirts and a healthy collection of Batman t-shirts. So please help me welcome Karthik Saxyal. Karthik?
Thank you. Thank you, James. That was brilliant. It's a privilege and an honor to be here for several reasons. Number one, I am passionate about AI and the value proposition and the potential of AI to transform us as a society, to transform humanity, right? So I do index towards AI for good. As James was kind enough to mention, I do have my PhD focused on AI. I was able to author a couple of books on AI. And I feel it's important for us to understand where we are in terms of a generational shift in terms of technology. So I've been in technology for over 25 years, closer to 30. I know a lot of you are saying, how's that possible? He looks like he's 12. But I haven't seen nothing like this before, right? Has been nothing like AI amongst us before in terms of technology. And it's only going to continue to exponentially increase in maturity and exponentially increase in its value proposition. I also think if you think about Gen Z, and that's the predicate of our conversation, right? Gen Z is special, right? A very special generation in all things considered, because if you think about it, right, Gen Z is the first generation in the history of our planet that has had access to smartphones since elementary school, right? They think very differently, they communicate very differently, they engage very differently, right? Imagine the value proposition of AI with this particular demographic and group and everything after them, right? Gen Alpha and beyond. Some of the things that I'm focused on is from an AI perspective, right? Any new technology that comes about, It always is made better if you have some level of a playbook and some level of guardrails, right? When technology does not have a playbook and guardrails, we have to discover best practices by making some mistakes, right? And in terms of AI, those mistakes could be acute and exacerbated. So I think it's important for us to. I'm very bullish on AI. It could be potentially transformational for our society. I think it's also critically important for us to make sure that AI is safe, ethical, and responsible. And I speak about this a lot, and before I introduce our amazing panelists, something for each of you to consider, right? If you take a moment and look at everything around you, regardless of where in the world you're dialing in from, which is remarkable, by the way, right? The worldwide reach of this audience. Just take a moment and look at everything around you, right? The phones that you have, the computer screen that you're looking through, this virtual meeting hosted on Zoom, right? Everything that you see around you, all of the raw materials that went into creating everything that we have around us, have always existed on this planet, right? We haven't imported anything from Mars. All of the raw materials that went into creating everything around us have always existed on our planet, right? But it took thousands and thousands and thousands of years of human ingenuity to be able to combine these raw materials into creating everything that we take for granted today, right? All of the things that are around us. It took Google's DeepMind AI uh, less than a year to surface 2.2 million hypothetical new raw materials, right? 800 of those are in active development by another AI system, right? And the reason why this is seminal is because the cure to cancer could be in there somewhere. The answer to unlimited renewable energy could be in there somewhere. The clues on how to combat the climate crisis might be in there somewhere. AI is going to unlock the true potential of us as a civilization, and I could not be more excited. So, with that as a backdrop, I am more than happy to introduce our amazing panelists today. Daniel Paladin is the founder of Forge Africa, an initiative that's equipping young Africans with practical digital skills and access to technology opportunities. He is also the founder of Glass, an AI powered app that is currently in development, which is designed to verify and analyze content in real time. Glass will help users detect AI generated fakes and combat misinformation. And James, as a fellow avid technologist of many, many years, you would appreciate how critically important the work that Daniel is doing is. So Daniel is one of our panelists. Also joining us today on the stage is hello. Hold on, what's going on with my screen? My apologies. Ironically, AI can't fix these, right? Having technical issues. Also joining us today is Danyan Titialayo, aka Titi. Titi is going to take a moment and introduce herself. And I know we were expecting Michael to get on the call as well. I don't know, Michael Fry, if you're
Yeah,
on.
he's here. He's
Yes,
joined.
okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you, Phoebe. So Titi, may I ask you to take a moment and introduce yourself while I fix my Zoom issues, and then Michael will turn it over to you as well.
Hi guys. Good good evening. Good evening from Mauritius. So hi everyone. So my name is Daniel Tislayo and people call me Titi because I mean it's easier to pronounce. I'm a Nigerian. I'm currently studying in Mauritius. A Mastercard scholarship candidate. I'm the founder and creator of Enlighten VR, which is a virtual reality classroom set aside for teachers and students to connect in the meta space. I also working on. I'm also a technology developer. So like I'm skills on like web development, apps, designing, anything that's to do with creativity. And also, I'm currently the head of program in Forge that was founded by Danny. And also, me and Danny are like cool friends. So, like, yeah, I feel like we are the Gen Z with impact kind of thing. So, yeah, that's basically it for me. So, that's it.
Well, thank you, Titi. And I have been able to successfully remediate my Zoom issues, so we're back in business. But Titi, I have to tell you, from an education point of view, right? It's so critically important from an AI point of view to inspire educators, right? Our instinct has been, by and large, in academia, to tamp down the use of AI, which is a paradox because kids in high school today, right? It's a mixed message, right? From an academic perspective, it's important to use AI ethically, in my opinion. We should not be discouraging individuals from leveraging AI, but teach them tools how to leverage it successfully, right? To focus ethics, to focus the critical thinking skills that they need to develop. Because on the other side of that coin, the corporate world is all about usage and derivation of value from AI. We can't be the people in 1999 who tell kids, "Well, this internet thing's just a fad," right? You shouldn't be using it. So I think it's acutely important the work that you're doing. And Michael, since you're here and since TG had an opportunity to introduce herself as well, would you like to take a moment and introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. First, honored to be here, and thank you to Global Citizens for having this event. Very important timing. Even as of this week, we've had some wonderful excitement around these topics. Michael Fry, I am an AI, human AI collaborative, narrative intelligence educator. And so what that means is that, I'm a Gen X early adopter, right? So I was a professor at Columbia early in the 2000s, and just as Facebook was becoming popular, I created the internet and mobile concentration in order to migrate what I'd learned in my first life as a Hollywood screenwriter and television series developer, in order to migrate that media into this new age of what was then short form video. And so moving forward from Hollywood into education, I was able to harness, that new shocking energy called the internet, right? Called streaming. And everyone was panicked, right? Everyone was afraid. Hollywood panicked. Everyone was afraid of this new type of technology. We went from analog to digital. I experienced that. And what's happened recently is that, as we have this new quote unquote artificial intelligence that has the power to literally and is literally changing the world that we live in all industries across all sectors. And so, when I went into branding and advertising and then jumped out into my own company, StoryWorks, what I wanted to make sure of was that our young people, Generation Z, Generation Alpha, and even the tail end of what was called Generation Y, was able to have not only access but understanding, was able to have narrative intelligence around these new technologies. In general, educators are slow adopters of AI technology, with the fear that it's going to take over their jobs and that it's going to ruin critical thinking. I'm on the other side of that ship. I believe that as long as we have, human AI collaboration and not just agentic AI, which means the AI basically makes its own decisions, moves forward, does things on its own, as long as we begin to interact compassionately with this technology, it has the potential to change the world positively. So what StoryWorks does is one of the things that StoryWorks does is I've been integrating AI into our story-based curriculum in Chicago public schools, and especially in our alternative schools and underserved areas where there's the potential for another literacy gap, right? There's the potential for a prompt, what I call a prompt class that's being created that our students are missing out on. And so StoryWorks is very dedicated to making sure that all humans really, but especially all young people have equal or equitable access and training in, again, human AI collaboration, right? Very different from let AI do your work. And I'll leave it right there because I'm sure the questions are going to evolve later.
Yeah, Michael, that's phenomenal. Completely agree with you. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. And just for parity, Daniel, I did a little bit of an intro for you before I had Zoom glitch on me. If you could take like 30 seconds to add on anything I missed in that intro, that would be awesome.
Oh, thank you very much, Kartik, for the invite. I think you did a very good job. I mean, it's not much to say anymore. On my team, I run four different startups, majorly around AI and solving issues and problems around the world, especially in Africa and Nigeria. So yeah, that's basically it. And happy to be privileged to be on this, this platform to talk to you guys, and hope the conversation goes really good. And yeah, that's about it.
So Daniel, just while we have you talking about your intro, right? What was the catalyst? What precipitated you to focus on this particular topic to use AI to be able to detect deepfakes?
Mm. Okay, yeah, that's about that. So the thing is, we as Gen Z, the main thing we focus on today, or let me say the main thing we use the most today is AI. And regardless of phones and social media and all that, I can tell you every single Gen Z I've seen or I've met past couple of like yeah, let's say 2 years back, use AI. Every single one of us use AI in uni, outside the uni, on the streets, everyone is on AI. So I feel like it's a very, very primitive topic to talk about because it's what determines what we do, it determines our emotions. I've seen like a bunch of my friends that when they're sad, they go to AI to talk to AI. Like if they're happy, they're over happy, they go talk to AI. If they're hungry, they go talk to AI. What should I eat? What's the best food? And all of that. So it's not like the parents or the friend that they once had. So I just feel like it's very important and I'm really, really happy to speak about it and very happy to answer any questions in regard to it.
That's fantastic, Danielle, TT, Michael. We're going to have a great conversation. So I think if I get the highest level, right, the four of us are pretty enthusiastic and bullish about AI, and we're going to talk about that. Or we're going to talk about AI for good, which is the central premise for our conversation today. But before we talk about the glass half full and all of the awesomeness that AI is going to unlock for us, let's start with the elephant in the room, right? Is the actual, real, palpable fear of AI. Just my 2 cents. People usually fear what they don't understand, and there's a lot of mythology of AI out there as well. But I'd love to hear from the three of you, starting with Daniel and then TT and then Michael. Um, just a couple of minutes. Talk to us about, do you think that those concerns are founded and have a basis in reality? Do you think people have a good reason to fear AI? And what drew you specifically? And we heard from Daniel a little bit, but TT, Michael, what drew you to work with AI? Let's start with Daniel.
So I mean, people definitely have a reason to fear AI, and I think that fear is healthy, yeah, because every powerful technology in history has had the unintended consequences, and AI is probably the most powerful one we've ever built so far. And the concern isn't just about jobs or misinformation or about it's about who controls the system and whose values are embedded in them. So what drew me to it is I've seen the power listing ads, and I'll be like, I want to be part of the people that sit at the table and determine what AI does. I want to be part of the people that sit at the table and determine how AI is being used and determine how we fight the misuse of AI. So that's what's basically drew me to the AI thing.
Wonderful. And I have to add, so plus one on all of that, right? Unintended consequences are truly something that humans as a species, we don't really have a good line of sight into. I will say from a deepfake perspective, which is the focus of your AI interests, right? Just for everybody to know, I mean, as a CIO, James, you might agree with me. I think the thing that concerns me is the next frontier of all things cybersecurity. If you're an elderly grandmother and you get a WhatsApp video call from someone you think is your grandson and says, "I made some poor life choices. I'm at Tijuana without my passport and my wallet. Can you Venmo me $1,500 to this other account?" Right? That's going to happen, right? It's the challenge with deepfake. So completely agree with you. TD, what do you think? Do people have founded reasons to be concerned about AI, to fear AI?
Okay, so for me, I think like everyone has like good reason to be actually conscious, and that's because as everyone knows, AI is really really powerful. I mean, when I say powerful, I mean like really really powerful, and that's because a lot of it is like is being built, is deployed, is actually like deployed faster than most people actually understand it. And the real concern around it is like the bias, the misinformation, and the access. And I feel like that's basically where like glass comes in, as you said earlier. And also, but I feel like I don't think the fear actually should like be disengaged. I feel like if anything is actually, it is more like a signal that makes like that is more needed to us to understand like the involvement and around and the shaping of it. And one thing that drew me to like working with AI is actually the immersive technology in it and the possibility. And that's because I'm an XR developer. Basically, the project I'm working on, which got the involvement of Bill Gates and Anthony Blinken in 2023, 2024, was around education and how to use the meta to like give like quality education because I had issues. I mean, while I was growing up, I had issues with like getting quality education due to like heavy rainfall. So I created the solutions, but I discovered that AI was like coming in into the world and everything. It was very, very fast. So I was curious about how I can integrate AI into my own project. So that was the intro for me into the whole AI space. And also I've actually seen like how unequal access to education and technology can actually be. So for me, it's more about innovation. It's more about making sure that the all to expand like opportunity instead of like some particular misinformation or concentrated powers. So I didn't just sit like on the sideline and criticize it. I want to like able to like build it differently so that people does not really have to like use it differently, like in the bad way. And that's why I feel like yeah, that's basically how I came in contact into AI and I started to use AI for good for myself. Yeah, basically that's it.
Wonderful, great answer, TJ. Michael, what do you think?
Again, thank you to Daniel and Danayan for their input. Very insightful. So I have a maybe I want to start large and drill in small. So number one, the fear of AI. We group AI all in one big ball, right? So oh my God, it's AI. Okay, so let's start over. Okay. So is there a reason to fear AI? Yes, across all platforms. However, AI is not to be feared. What we're to be conscious of, in the words of Denai, and if I say your name wrong, dear, please excuse me, is the who's training, who's nurturing, whose narrative is shaping and guiding AI. So let's break AI into a couple of places because yes, there's a real need to fear the $200 million deal between OpenAI and the Department of War. We should fear that because that's basically a contracted Cyberdyne, right? So that part of AI should be feared, without being partisan or without taking any judgment, all we have to do is sit back and say to ourselves, right? The AI is basically neutral, right? It's who's training the tool, who's using the tool, and what is their narrative. Now, when I say what is their narrative, I'm thinking from a narrative intelligence perspective, right? So the Department of War has a goal, war. Okay, though, so therefore, when you allow unchecked and unregulated capitalism, right? Which means where the highest bidder gets the technology, then we've got a problem because there's no ethics in that exchange. That's a transaction. It's not transformational, at least not positive. It's a business transaction. So we're allowing the most powerful tool in the world to be sold to the highest bidder, regardless of intention. That we should be pretty scared of. Now, here's the problem. If we just say AI, then all of a sudden, if you fear AI creating autonomous weapons, then they blanket that fear across AI in education, across AI in peace building, across AI in green technologies. So the thing is, you can fear a part of AI based on who is interacting with it and what are their intentions. There's no need to fear the entire science of artificial intelligence. And that's what I try to communicate to our principals and to our educators, is that there's a fear that then gets pulled across education, right? And then people are afraid to utilize education. AI in education. Now I'll jump to the fear in education because there's a legitimate fear there too. And what that would be is that you know, as Daniel said, hey, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're using AI 24/7. That's their new social media, right? That's deeper than that. That's their companion. That's who they talk to about their problems. That's who they ask where they should go. That's who they ask who they should date. So engagement, they're already engaged. So I talk a lot about engagement because education, if students aren't engaged, they have a 3 to 5 minute attention span, right? They're engaged by AI. So we have to take advantage of where students are already learning outside of the classroom because they're on those, right? And so we need to take advantage and mortgage that engagement, that pre-existing engagement, where they're, this is from branding and marketing, where they're already playing. We need to take that jewel, which Daniel is doing, right, and migrate that engagement around AI into human AI collaboration, which means that the student isn't letting AI do their homework. That's what they're doing now. So all the educators who are no AI, well, that's your 8 hours. They're using AI. So we need to guide that. We need to make sure the critical thinking skills are there. That's where the narrative intelligence and the promptology. If I say promptology and you go, what's that? See, it changes every week. You got to get on it because promptology is basically a compassionate form of prompt engineering that actually takes into account your ability to interpret information, have narrative intelligence, iterate, refine using your critical thinking skills and combine that. I won't keep talking. There's a lot we can do with AI and education, digital media across all subjects, engaging students, right? Instead of locking them into the 20th century fear of Cyberdyne.
Yeah. So Michael, I concur with that, right? So by and large, so concur with AI and education. I just want to add on a couple of things, right? So when we think about large organizations that are applying their craft in the AI capabilities, uh, most companies, right, by and large, have pretty robust and rigorous governance protocols and governance boards to ensure that AI is safe and continue to monitor that, right? So I honestly, if I zoom out, and I'm an eternal optimist. I am optimistic about the value for AI, regardless of who creates the AI. I think by and large it's relatively governed, right? It's the ungoverned AI being intentionally created for harm, like cybersecurity, for example, right? So today you have even the most sophisticated bad actors, hackers, if you will, they still have human limitations, right? They need to eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. AI has no such limitations, right? So my concern always indexes towards AI being able to commit cybercrime by the bad actors, right? So I generally lean towards AI sound governance policies that exist in most organizations. All organizations that are doing AI have provided guardrails for us to continue flourishing with AI, regardless of what field or sector they serve in, right? To continue that, or what I inferred, what I concur with, to continue that responsible, ethical AI build out, we need to be able to educate the next generation, right? We need to be able to educate Gen Z. So, with that as a backdrop, maybe we can pivot over to my question for all of us, right? When we think about AI for good, and then maybe starting with Daniel and Titi, and then Michael, how do we engage AI responsibly? Think about Gen Z, think about the Gen Alpha. How do we educate the next generation so that AI can continue unlocking AI's potential for humanity, right? The more inclusive storytelling, the truth, the dignity, responsible AI. How do we go about doing that?
Okay, so the thing is, we just need to accept the fact that AI is now part of us. The thing is, a couple of schools, most especially in Africa, for example, they like to deny the fact that AI is a thing. For example, there's be like, don't use AI in exams, don't use AI for the assignments and all of that. But regardless of the rules they set down, the students are still going to use AI. it will use these AI. We all know that. Regardless of the rules, no matter, like, they don't care about the rules. They're still gonna use AI for the assignments, they're still gonna use AI, they're not gonna study. But then is we need to engage them with AI because regardless of the fact, they're still gonna engage with it, whether you like it or not. And we need to put it out there. We need to communicate with schools, communicate with parents, communicate with teachers, most importantly, and let them know that AI is not exactly to be fair. It's only fair when people who are making use of it or people sitting at the table, people making it, are doing it for the wrong reasons. Because AI on its own, it doesn't have its own mind. It's basically like an innocent baby. Like it depends on
Exactly.
what you train it on. It depends on what you ask it. Depends on what you prompt it. That's what going to determine what's going to give you. For example, I saw a chat in the comment. Person was like, if you, for example, if you're trying to get food from AI, you just go like, hey, I need food, without telling them you have allergies or anything. It can give you the wrong food, and then let's say you get like a fucking reaction, and then you just die. So the thing is, AI is just innocent. There's nothing wrong with AI. The issue is us. We are the problem. So we need to fix ourselves, and that's the only way we can fix AI. So we need to sit at the table, think about what we're doing, think about what we're prompting, thinking about the next generation, thinking about how to teach, how to correct. And I feel like the main solution to this problem is just education, educating the teachers, educating the schools, and educating the people, also educating the leaders, the governors, the government officials. They know nothing about AI, especially in Africa. They know nothing. They just don't care. So education, I feel like education is what I'm gonna stick with, yeah, on my hand.
Kartik, you're muted.
Sorry, that was my ill attempt at playing French mime, right? So Daniel, I +1, right? Completely concur with you. I think going back to our earlier conversation about people always fear what they don't understand, and it's not just Gen Z and Gen Alpha that need to be educated on the safe and effective use of AI. I've been monitoring the chat, and Jane Maurer mentioned that she's a sysadmin for LMS at SNU, right? And it's an acute thing for an educator to be able to discern whether the paper that was submitted was AI generated or human generated, right? I completely empathize with that. How do we pivot that mindset, and how do we make sure that people, educators, have the tools and the education that they need to be able to educate the next generation that you can balance the use of AI as a tool, as a utility, and not as a crutch. And you need to have your level of human spirit. Look, if AI can be used for researching, right? If you were Googling before and you can chat GPT tomorrow and uh, arrive at somewhere in the middle, right? But then add your own, add your own opinions, put your own voice in there, have that creative thinking. I think those are the things that it's a generational obligation for us to be able to educate Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So great point in the chat there, Jane. TD, what's your feedback?
Okay, so for me, what I'm gonna say is, I think the big part of engaging AI responsibly start with education actually, and that's because especially like looking at the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, and that's because our this particular generation is actually growing with AI just the same way like the millennials grew up with the internet. So like the way that we are the way this particular two generations are like going, I feel like the focus shouldn't be just on access, it should be on awareness also. And that's because young people needs to understand that AI isn't always right. Emphasis on that, because even ChatGPT or any AI tool you use, if it gives you information, it always tell you this response may not be right. Try to confirm for that kind of thing, and that's because if that particular instance like reflect the data it was trained on, young people need to understand it so well, and that's because basically it means it can carry both bias and incomplete perspective, and so you as the person using it needs to like confirm, don't just go around spreading false information. And also, so to be part of the responsible use in is like learning to question the output, like verify the information, and also do not treat the AI like the final authority. And that's because it's about like using using the AI tool for creativity, learning, rather than just letting it like replace your own critical thinking. And if we are to like use it responsibly, we need to like encourage young people to actually like use AI to like explore ideas, like solve problems, collaborate, while they are still thinking independently. And that's because most people like Gen Z and Gen Alpha is it's like the percentage of people like actually like still critically thinking about so many things is like it's not really there. Like so many people like really like 100% already rely on AI, and so for it's like these people that do not even like verify this information. So like it's because like they need to like understand that why we are still like using AI to explore ideas, solve solution, and collaborate while still thinking independently. It's just like a support system rather than something that actually just override the whole human judgment. So like to use AI responsible, I feel like it's more about understanding it, and also like it comes basically on around the digital literacy of the person, and also teaching the next generation, which is the Gen Alpha, how to actually like use the AI like thoughtfully, like critically, and also like ask reasonable questions. And basically just be aware of what you are asking, because you can't just pick the AI answer as the final thing. So like the whole information you get from ChatGPT doesn't actually like have to be like the final say. You don't just verify it or anything. So like you just take it like that. Okay, this is what ChatGPT said. It may be wrong because it was trained on a particular data. So basically, that's what I'm just gonna say.
Daniel has his hand up, and then I do have some input.
No, sorry, I was gonna like attempt to this very important question in the chat, and the question was that what are the thoughts around negative environmental footprint on from AI, like data centers using of power and water? Because that I feel like that is a very, very important question in regards to and lots of people don't really understand that. So I'm gonna put this out there. So the environmental footprint of AI is very, very real, and I agree with whoever said that. And it's something that the industry can ignore as the systems, the scale. And training large AI models, they require enormous computational power. And that translates into significant electricity consumption and water usage and all that. But that said, I think the conversation needs nuance. I mean, technology has always come with environmental trade-offs, from industrial manufacturing to cloud computing. But the key question is, how do we design systems to minimize the harm while maximizing social benefit? So AI companies and infrastructure providers, they need to take responsibility for making their systems more efficient and sustainable. We can make it sustainable. When I create AI solutions, I make sure I use as little computational energy as possible. So the thing is not with AI, the thing is with the people that create this AI. So we need to start blaming them and not the AI itself. For example, the big leagues, you've got OpenAI, you've got Anthropic. So those are the people that determine what is gonna entail. And also few points is like the energy efficiency in AI models, the renewable power data centers. I think there are a couple of those in America and the United Kingdom now, and also smarter infrastructure design. So I hope that answered the question.
So I want to go back to education real quick, because the education complex question is an extremely complex question. You have to think about policy, and you have to think about funding, and you have to think about how do you actually get a state or a country's budget together enough to actually jump into AI. That's one thing. Number two is when you look at what types of schools are adopting AI and how they're adopting it. So prep schools, Andover, Choate, Lake Forest Academy, these types of institutions are fully going into human AI collaborative education, meaning that their students are being trained to be promptologists from 13 to 18. Why? Because they understand that in 5 years, at least 50% of the mid-level jobs will be prompt-based jobs. The already high-level employers, right? They won't even look at your application unless you have, a basic AI literacy, right? And so what we're looking at is a prompt class in 5 years. The have and have nots is the prompt and prompt nots. And the prep schools know that. Now, public schools are adopting 25%. It's not human to AI, human AI collaboration. It's basically how do we allow administrators and teachers to ease their workload, right? And then there's some synchronous and asynchronous online AI tutoring things. But we're not training our actual students in public schools, right, to interact with this technology. Now, Storyworks, we go in and we have professional development for administrators and teachers. We go in for full week or day, residencies where we'll sit there and we'll promptology with you the entire time and across all subjects. People aren't quite there, right? Really, if you look at the Illinois education standards around AI, which was released last year, it looks like we're engaging, right? But really, all it's doing is I just taught an AI workshop for Chicago Public Schools, educators across curriculum, and there's so many people who just don't want AI. And then number two is that they can only use this one suite of digital media tools, which is better than nothing. But that's teachers and administrators, not students. Now, your Waldorf and your Montessori schools are no AI. But listen to this. What's great about that is the critical thinking skills, the touch it and learn it. I love all that. I love the way they do things. They also know that a large portion of their population is going to go to prep school. It's going to go to private school, and they're going to get their AI, their human to AI collaborativeness in the next stage of education.
So Michael, a couple of thoughts, right? To effectively been a catalyst for. I think that's there's a ton of commonality, right? Regardless of what state, what country, what city, what demographic you're in. I think, look, the more we can let people know that AI, there's a lot of fear about job displacement out there. I think you touched upon that as well, especially as students graduate and get into the workforce. I think it's important for us to reframe how we think about it, right? It's the question isn't, is AI going to take my job? The question we should ask ourselves is, what if I had a utility at my disposal 24/7, 365 that can expand my productivity by 10x, right? My thinking by 20x, right? What more things can I do for my chosen vocation, for my community, for my country, as a citizen of the world, to be able to expand my horizons of things I haven't been able to do before, just because of capacity. So I index towards the positivity and index towards the value proposition that's out there. And I think it all starts with the education. So I would say educate ourselves so that we are best able to educate others, whether you're a caregiver, whether you're a parent, whether you are an educator. To be an educated consumer on AI is only how we can educate Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I got to tell you, TT, Michael, Daniel, you guys are doing phenomenal work, right? In your respective fields. I think four of us can agree on one thing, is that we're all very bullish on AI and AI's potential for us as humanity. So with that, the call to action for all of us is to be better educated consumers of AI, understand what AI is doing in our field of study, in our vocation, and more importantly, how we can double down and use this technology that we have all access to. So with that, I'm going to bring James back into the conversation.
Wow. Just wow. This has been such a great discussion. And, I just listened to this expertise that is here that you're hearing from. And I can tell you it's top notch. This is exactly, from my perspective, what we need to be talking about. So many great points were raised. And I want to thank you, Karthik, for putting this together and helping to facilitate this great discussion and these great points. I want to thank all of you for being here, for listening deeply, and for engaging with both the content through the chat and with one another. You know, spaces like this do not happen by accident. They are created, nurtured, and sustained by people who believe that dialogue across differences is not a luxury, but a necessity. Global Citizen Circle has been doing exactly that work for decades, bringing together people from around the world, as you all are, to wrestle with difficult questions, building understanding, and inspiring action toward a more just and peaceful world. And we've had some insights on how to do that with AI today. Your presence today connects you to that legacy. If what you've experienced in this past hour has resonated with you, I invite you to take a next step. You can support Global Citizen Circle by making a financial contribution of any size, single time or sustaining, talking to Theo about becoming a member, and you'll hear more about that coming up, or by simply committing to join us at future circles and bringing another person with you. Your involvement helps ensure that these conversations continue, that new voices are welcomed. As Eleanor says, one of our piece of our secret sauce is being welcome. And we hope you all felt welcome when you came here today. And that our impact grows beyond any single event. So on behalf of Global Citizen Circle, thank you again for your time, for your attention, and your commitment to being part of a global community that believes we can do better together.